Hi, and welcome to RevOps Unboxed, the podcast that dives into the world of revenue operations, brought to you by me, Sandy Robinson, in partnership with Revenue Operations Alliance. On this episode of RevOps Unboxed, I speak with Sandip Patil, VP of Revenue Operations at Cornerstone OnDemand. Today, we will discuss the power of focusing on the customer journey to achieve excellence and the career path that got Sandip where he is today. Let's get started.
Well, we've got people walking around here, but this is Sandy Robinson, and I am your host of RevOps Unboxed. We're doing a little live session here today for the Revenue Operations Alliance. So I have Sandip Patil here. He's Vice President of Revenue Operations at Cornerstone. So welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you for the event. This is fabulous. Some familiar faces in the crowd, as well as some old friends, and then topics that dear to heart. So
yes, for sure.
This is great.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background and your current role.
Sure. So again, my name is Sandip Patil. I am currently Vice President of Revenue Operations at Cornerstone OnDemand. We are a talent management, people-first platform company, and we're leader in our space. And I manage our global revenue operations team, working closely across sales, marketing, product, and customer success organizations. And it's been more than a year and a half.
Okay.
I've been in my role, and prior to that, I was at ATM manufacturing company, which was Ohio-based, Diebold Nixdorf. We're probably like 3 or 4 big corporations that do the work, and I was part of their subscription or SaaS business for services. And overall, I've been in the space for more than a decade. Overall, 15 plus years of experience. Mostly started with my experience at KPMG in consulting. I was part of finance and operations group, and that gave me a lot of exposure to how organizations tackle their challenges around operational growth, but as well as how do you bring in the financial perspective as well. And that led me into my career into different aspects of revenue operations, which today we know as a revenue operation, but
right.
Most of us have grown into some aspect of revenue operations. For me, it started within marketing operations, then sales operations, and then in last 3 roles, including one as a chief of staff for a startup here in Bay Area, it's called Next Role. I had a chance to build some of the revenue operations capabilities, and here I am today.
That's quite a journey. There's no exact recipe, right, for how you get into revenue operations. And I find it interesting, starting from the finance side and finding your way into a chief of staff role, which is, really, you're kind of seeing all aspects of the business, and then into sales and marketing. So that's definitely quite a journey.
Thank you.
Excited to listen to you talk tomorrow. So I was thinking maybe today we could talk a little bit about your topic, and I know you're talking about customer journey and everything. So maybe you can give us a little preview on your session. It'd be
Sure.
great.
Tomorrow we're going to focus on how if you build revenue operations correctly, how it can elevate your customer journey that is important for every organization and almost every function, and how revenue operations plays important part. What I've often found, either through my own work, but also within my network, customer journey. We talk about revenue operations, technology, and the KPIs, everything. Customer journey is not something. Revenue operations team can say that we own it, right? A little bit of provocative statement there. However, it's when you start looking at what we are usually asked to either measure or investigate, it's usually across the customer journey. It's like in a broad sense for a SaaS company, when you think about how do you bring the awareness for your products, how you build the pipeline, how you convert the pipeline, and then once you convert them, how do you get them engaged? How do you build the renewal machine? And that itself, in a way, it's in a nutshell, it's a customer journey. Broad stroke for every organization, it's different. However, when you start looking at the KPIs and the cadence that goes into it, And when you zoom out, which very difficult sometimes for a lot of us in the revenue operations, you can realize the big picture across the customer journey. And when you take that as a foundation for building the revenue operations, it leads into good things. It leads into right conversations. It leads into right positioning for what you're doing in the organization, and it also ultimately helps to grow and bring happy customers.
Definitely. And I think a lot of times you get so focused on the internal side, right? We sometimes forget about the customer journey and what's happening on the customer side. And then ultimately, as a RevOps leader, it's about driving revenue, right?
Absolutely.
And in order to do that, we've got to keep the customers, and it's not a one-way street, right?
Absolutely.
It's not really a funnel per se, right?
Exactly.
So how do you go about tackling that with the various teams, in your role today?
Very fortunate to have a great executive leadership team that I work with who understand the importance of the customer journey and having a consistent one across the board. When I joined in my role, one of the first thing I got a chance to work on was help build our customer journey itself, and then build the metrics around it. It's I don't consider it as a finished product, probably never. However, having that understanding of how the journey moves, and then you can start building around. For example, one common framework I always have for my team is 3 things that you always want to have with every individual teams that you work with. Let's say you're working with marketing organization or marketing leadership. You want to have what is the cadence that you're meeting on regular basis, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. What are things that you discuss, and what do insights or point of view are publishing, not just the data, because at some point data, although difficult to capture, it's important that we go beyond the data. So once you have that framework of okay, when are we meeting, what are we discussing, what is the point of view, and then you replicate across the different aspect of customer journey. That's how you go about building it. It takes a lot of efforts, a lot of alignment. Also, this requires to zoom out time to time and understand if you're going in the right direction. Often, in my last this role as well as previous 2 roles, I found that organizations are usually good in terms of understanding one aspect of customer journey. It could be how for example, when I was at after KPMG, I joined HP, and HP was about to split into 2 companies, and I was fortunate enough to build marketing operations on the HP Inc. side. And we were great in terms of knowing the KPIs on demand generation. We're a B2C company,
right.
And we are really great engine. In last 2 roles that I had, we were not great at knowing marketing side, but we were great at knowing sales side. And so you'll always have some more depth, some more maturity in one aspect, and you start there, and then you slowly build additional sort of it's a plug and play nature of the capabilities that you go on building.
Right, you can't boil the ocean, so to speak. So you have to start somewhere, and wherever the biggest priority is, and align to that, and kind of work your way through the customer journey. Sounds like what you're saying.
Absolutely. So
do you have maybe a story you can tell that some of the RevOps folks that are listening might be interested in, just some lessons learned?
Sure. In a prior role, we were trying to reach out to some of our customer base for additional subscription services. We're selling hardware, but we're finding it difficult to get the software as well as services portion that would add a lot of top line as well as bottom line. However, what we found was the buyer persona was different when selling hardware versus the services. The subscription services requires higher authority and buyer with more budgets and more consultation needed. So one of the aspect of and this was amongst the existing customer base, right? So it's not that we're going after new customers. These are the customers we knew, but we just didn't know where we can focus on. So through IT team and the BI team and sales organizations help, we built a sort of a set of questionnaire within Salesforce where we had highlighted set of accounts.
Okay.
Let's say you have 500 accounts. All the account managers would go in Salesforce and you would answer 6 questions like, what is the highest authority do we know at this account? Do they know about our services and software? Are we building a business case? Are we? Do we know if they have budget this year or next year?
Right.
And every answer yes would get a score, and then this would get stack ranked, meaning now you know which accounts have a really ripe opportunity. If the answers to all of them is yes, that means that's great position. If the answers are some yes and some no, let's say answers are no, they know about our services, they know about subscription. We don't have great relationship at the highest authority. However, they are open to building the case. However, they have budget for next year. Great, that's your future pipeline.
Right.
So now you start to dissect this data challenge that we always feel like daunting. Now you're taking one step down, and slowly we within first quarter we saw the pipeline increase almost $15 to $20 million.
Wow.
And these are existing customers. So then the additional efforts that we needed to take was to work with marketing and how do we run ABM, because they're now our marquee customers. So we just don't want to target them with some generic ads. So now you can run really very targeted ABM campaigns that would turn into actual pipeline opportunities. And we started seeing within first 2 quarters we started seeing uplift in our conversion rates, and then that became sort of our go-to-market playbook to build on top of it. And we're fortunate to have good leaders on the sales side that embraced it, and we saw quite a success.
Well, that's huge, and they're seeing the benefit from it, right?
Absolutely.
So you're definitely contributing to driving the revenue and really connecting the dots between the marketing and the sales and the customer success processes, and like you said, that full customer journey.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Well, that's excellent. As we wrap up here, I think it would be great if you could share just kind of your philosophy or some key, takeaways for our listeners that, are really RevOps grinders, I call them, that maybe just with your experience and your insights, you could leave them with.
I think, number one thing I always suggest folks is never lose the ability to drill down. All of us, most of us have worked our way up from, being very data driven and being in the trenches, dealing with a lot of numbers. That never goes away or should never go away.
Right.
Doesn't matter what position you are in. So never lose the ability to either harness the importance of the data you have or create the insights. Number two, always be the find how you can be the trusted advisor. The advisorship is more important than the data, just being the data provider.
Right.
In my organization, one of the great things at Cornerstone I really enjoy is when our sales leaders ask our team like, hey guys, what do you think? Where are the opportunities? Do we have enough in pipeline? How do you see the trends compared to last year? That advisorship is very important to build, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? As Reid Hoffman says, that the trust is the equation of consistency over time. So you got to be consistent. You got to do it over a long period of time, but always find a way to get to the advisorship. And three, the technology is very important part of our life. My bosses at my boss at Cornerstone, he always tells me that folks in revenue operations or sales operations in general will find spending their next 15-20 years of careers in identifying what does the technology landscape look like. You just can't be focused on process or frameworks. You got to be very much embrace the technology landscape. And look, there'll be even more with AI and the machine learning, and we see a lot of our friends here through so many capabilities. And I'm sure we're going to hear more on this from your conversations as well. the technology is just important part of our life, and you got to have sort of passion for it.
For sure. So I love that. So drilling down, being that trusted advisor, and really getting a hold of your technology landscape. Well, this has been great, Sandip. I really appreciate your time. Look forward to your talk tomorrow, so we'll definitely be here. And this has been another episode of RevOps Unboxed. Tune in for more. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for tuning in to RevOps Unboxed. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.